Hey friends! In this video, Mike and I went to the CNE in Toronto. We checked out the Heritage Building, the Food Building, the Arts and Crafts, and much more. So come along and see how the experience was for us this year. So the CNE stands for the Canadian National Exhibition. It happens every year in Toronto, and for many of us Ontarians, it's a yearly tradition every August. It's been quite a few years since Mike and I have attended, but let me just say it felt the same as when I was a kid, just a little bit more pricier. The CNE, or the X, features various rides, games, shopping vendors, and showcases, and tons of food. We have dedicated an entire video on everything food related, so stay tuned for that video. If you're a foodie like us, you're gonna wanna watch that, since a lot of people do come here mainly for the food options. There's so much to do here, and it's a really fun way to spend the day, so stick around, we got a lot to talk about. I think it's been like 10 years since I've personally been here, so coming back felt like a huge blast from the past. We got here right as it opened, so we got to do a quick little walkthrough of everything before the crowds got too big. It's definitely something to note because the crowds do get big. If you're not a fan of large groups of people, take that into consideration. Today we explored the CNE with Mike's parents. Kind of felt nostalgic for him in that department, except this time we weren't here for the rides. Speaking of rides, you can buy an admission pass online with or without the ride pass. When I mentioned earlier that this place felt the same but pricier, I wasn't kidding. On top of the admission fee, the parking was $40. They had a sign that said cash only, so keep that in mind if you do plan on attending. But back on the ride topic. You can also purchase a wristband or separate ride tickets on site, and that's something we chose to do since we only really wanted to ride one thing, which is technically a premium ride, but more on that later. Our first plan of action for the day after getting some separate tickets was to explore the Heritage Building. Fun fact, it's attached to the Coca-Cola Coliseum where the Toronto Marlies play. They're the farm team for the Toronto Maple Leafs. As soon as we walked in, we saw this gorgeous flower walkthrough display. The amount of talent and detail that goes into so many of these booths and attractions is so admirable. The Heritage Building showcases lots of different vendors, and it's a great place to shop for great deals and support small businesses. But this building is more than just a shopping building and a walk down memory lane. Heritage Court is also about celebrating the community and diverse cultures that have shaped Toronto. I cannot stand this look that Mike does, but anyways, what does everyone think of Mike's new look here? I like the cowboy hat.
Wearing that to the wedding!
But you're not wearing that to the wedding. Sorry. As mentioned before, there's tons of food at the CNE. Food booths are scattered everywhere, and some free samples are offered at most of these types of vendors. One thing about me, I love kitchen supplies and gadgets, so this booth really intrigued us. It was the sumo slicer. I've seen people use this online, and we just had to have this lovely man demonstrate it for us. We loved how you can tell he just loves his job and takes pride in his product.
We're giving you our two-way peeler. Now you think a regular peeler is fun. This one is twice as much fun as a regular peeler. And it works right-handed, it works left-handed. If you're an Ottawa politician, it works underhanded.
How cheeky. There's many booths that are set up demonstrating their product, but that one definitely won us over. Mike and I got one, and even his parents got one. It was worth the hype. Next time, I'm coming back for their knife sharpener too. Christmas ideas, Mike. Anyways.
Ask Santa. I mean, yeah!
Anyways, as I was saying, this building had a whole section just dedicated to technology. They had this interesting AI facial recognition thing? Question mark? That would change colors on these balloons, I want to say, but I don't know what to really call these because it didn't really work that great and we found it pretty dumb. Like, I can totally see some rich person wasting their money on this, but hey, to each their own. I mean, you can get a cool Instagram photo out of it, which we totally didn't do, but it's there for you. Just wasn't for us.
Just got yelled at for spinning it.
Yeah, no spinning. Spinning denied. This building you could easily take up almost all your day in. There is just so much to do and explore, like that retro arcade section you can spend hours at. There's a planetarium, and there's this liquidation section, which you can definitely take most of your time looking at because there are some hot deals. Mike was here and he was a sucker for this wall of $10 hats. I was on the other side looking at all of the beauty stuff, which I only ended up walking away with was like a set of eyelashes. But we had to stop Mike from all the temptation and only end up with one hat, and that's what he chose.
Connor Bedard, baby!
After circling the building, we found a craft beer and wine booth and just had to stop in and check it out. Our review for this will be in our next video, so definitely check that one out. A lot of the areas that do have alcohol in sight tend to have live entertainment attached to it, so that's a nice add to these experiences. Notice that guy having a blast? Well, do you notice his jersey? That's for the Toronto Argonauts. Why we bring that up? It's because if you go see a Toronto Argonauts or a Toronto FC game at the BMO Field, you get free admission into the CNE as it's attached to the event. But good luck getting FC tickets though if Lionel Messi's in town. Right next to that BMO Field is the famous food building. People come from all over just to go here. So take your time when you go into it and do a walkthrough around. There is plenty to choose from. We are going to go into so much more depth about this in our next video, so definitely, I'm going to keep saying it again and again, check that one out. Stay tuned for it. So for now, here's just a quick little preview. If you come from far away and you've never tried Tim Hortons, Mike wants me to tell you to skip it, but for me personally, I mean, sure, try it, see what the hype's about, but it's gonna let you down. It lets us down continuously.
Don't do it!
Save your money, go somewhere else. It's not worth it. There's just so many better Canadian booths here to try besides Tim Hortons. I'm sure you recognize a few if you've watched some of our other videos, like the Canada's Wonderland one. But like I'm saying, it's just Tim Hortons is not our preference. Sorry, guys. So drinking at the CNE is only allowed in certain designated drinking areas. You can't walk around with an alcoholic beverage in your hand, so that's just something to note. Another thing to note is in some of these drinking zones, they have some extremely overpriced beverages. So just don't jump at the first place you see, because if you keep walking around, you're probably going to find something better and for a better price. Like these Landshark beers were great, we love them, but the price was a bit ridiculous, especially for the size of the can. There's a whole area dedicated to a beer festival, and this is where you can find beer on tap and get 5-ounce samplers in exchange for tokens. There's a beer token booth at the entranceway of the beer festival if that's something that appeals to you. There's a bunch of amazing food trucks here too, so even if you're not on the hunt for alcohol, there's some great food finds in this section. Poor Alex was feeling a little bit of heat stroke. Next up is the Arts and Crafts Building. It's a creative haven at the CNE where you can go explore a wide array of handmade goods and artistic creations. The building is filled with vendors and artisans showcasing everything from intricate jewelry and textiles to unique home decor and fine art. The Arts and Crafts Building is all about celebrating creativity and craftsmanship, making it a must visit for anyone who appreciates the art of handmade. We also found our favorite, Albion Hills Farm, the place that we found at Canada's Wonderland. We gotta stop here every time we see them. This building also does extend outside, so take a stroll down the road and look at all the vendors out here. We did, and we found some amazing sunglasses. They're polarized, and they were for a great price. I love them. And clearly so does Mike. Once upon a time, this used to be the sports building, but now it's the farm building. This building is a great place to connect with the agricultural roots of Ontario and learn about farming and rural life. You'll find interactive exhibits, live animals, and demonstrations that showcase everything from modern farming techniques to traditional practices. So this little goat here, I believe name was Monica. I had a moment with her. She just looked so sad, and I just love goats so much. Look at me, I'm sorry, I'm like an emotional distraught because she does this thing with her head and the gait. Ah, there it is. Oh, yep, see, I feel it now. I just wanted to give her a hug. Who doesn't love goats? You gotta be like twisted to not think they're adorable.
I think alpacas are better.
They spit.
I know.
They're cool. Speaking of cool, if I was a kid, I'd be all over this. This building is definitely geared towards kids, so if you do have little kitties with you, bring them here. They're gonna love it. It's gonna keep them busy for hours. There's so much for them to do, and it's very educational as well. And this is why we can't have nice things. This big mama gave birth to these adorable piglets that I kept saying looked like Allie, our little dog. They kick their feet and twitch their ears like she does when she sleeps, and then they have this next to it. How messed up. They have the cute piggies and then a demonstration of where they cut them up so you can eat them.
Speaking of delicious.
Yeah, so here we have the cattle that unfortunately are raised for meat, but you know, circle of life. I get it.
Beautiful cows, though.
Very beautiful. Across from that is the area where they show you all the dairy cows. And if you have any questions about this, these people are more than happy to educate you. They have a Holstein cows and the Jersey cows, and we learned a lot about the difference between them. And they're just so pretty and cute. I love cows.
Me too, especially on my plate.
So you're telling me you eat pieces of shit for breakfast?
No.
You just said it over the poo or false. Remember how I mentioned we only wanted to ride one ride? That would be for the chairlift attraction. That is technically classified as a premium ride. So we all just got 7 tickets each so we could get a great bird's eye view of the whole exhibition. This is pretty much just a pretty colorful daytime ski lift. So just obey the rules, be safe, and just don't be an ass. Don't spit, don't drop things. Keep your hands in and enjoy the ride.
You better obey, eh?
While up here, you will get a great view of inside BMO Field. So if you haven't been in there, it's a great way to take a peek. Like me, I have not been in there yet, but I would like to one day.
I'll take you there sometime. I've been to a Toronto FC game before, and they're a blast.
I'll take his word for it because he's brought me to my first Toronto Maple Leafs game and my first Toronto Blue Jays game, and they've always been a blast. So one day, bucket list, we'll get there. So even though this was our only ride that we got to enjoy, it was fun to see all the other ones that they had there. All right, that was our day at the CNE. Did you guys go this year? Are you planning on going before it ends? Let us know. So once again, stay tuned for that entire video of all the food we had. You're not going to want to miss it.